Look around your room. The walls, the ceiling, the air going in and out of your lungs. All of it feels permanent. Like the world has always been like this. It hasn't. Rewind far enough and this exact spot becomes a place that would kill you in under a minute. There is no air you could breathe. The ground is literally liquid rock. And the sky glows orange like the inside of a furnace. For more than 99% of this planet's existence, nothing remotely like you was here. Earth got along just fine without us for 4.5 billion years. Something was ruling this planet the entire time. And for almost all of it, it was nothing you'd recognize. For 0.5 billion years, as a number your brain simply can't hold. So forget the numbers for a second. Imagine a stadium filled with popcorn. If all that popcorn represented the entire history of Earth, all of human history would equal one single kernel. Near the top of the pile. That is how small we actually are. We are a single grain of sand in the whole Sahara Desert. A single drop of water in the entire ocean. So what would happen if you stepped out onto Earth as it was 4.5 billion years ago? Well, the first thing that happens is you die. The entire surface is an ocean of lava under a thick orange haze of carbon dioxide. There's no moon in the sky either. It hasn't formed yet. A planet about the size of Mars, which scientists named Theia, has just slammed into the young Earth at an angle. The crash threw an enormous spray of debris into orbit. And over millions of years, that debris will slowly clump together into the moon you see in the sky. The same impact also knocked the planet over by about 23 degrees. And that little tilt is the only reason we have seasons at all. Day one and a slightly different impact would have meant we never happened. Once the lava cooled and the first oceans formed, life appeared. But you would not have recognized it as life at all. For the next 2 billion years, this planet belonged to things too small to see. They were single-celled microbes. A whole living world invisible to the naked eye. There were no plants, no animals, nothing with a face at all. Just specks of slime running the entire Earth. Do not mistake them for primitive. These specks ruled longer than every plant, animal, and dinosaur combined. The air back then would have killed you. One breath of it, with no oxygen at all, and you'd drop where you stood. Then those microbes did something that almost ended everything. Some of them learned to eat sunlight. We call it photosynthesis. Photosynthesis gives off a waste gas, oxygen. To you, oxygen is life. To almost everything alive back then, it was poison. As it built up in the air, it wiped out huge amounts of the life that couldn't handle it. Geologists call this the Great Oxidation Event, which is a very polite name for one of the biggest die-offs the planet has ever seen. But the same gas did something else. It stripped away the gases trapping the planet's heat. And without them, the whole thing froze over. Very possibly from pole to pole into a single ball of ice. So the air sitting in your lungs right now is the leftover from a catastrophe. One that nearly wiped out the very life that created it. Life clung on under the ice. But for more than 1 billion years after that, the biggest thing alive was still microscopic. Then, a little over 500 million years ago, something changed. In a burst called the Cambrian Explosion, life suddenly got big and weird and fast. For the first time, the oceans filled with creatures you could actually see. Armored creatures with too many eyes. Things with 5 arms and no clear front or back. Giant predators with clawed arms snatching prey out of the water. Plants crept out onto bare rock and built the first soil. Then fish in the shallows slowly grew legs. And the first uneasy animals hauled themselves up onto dry land. Forests rose. Massive trees unlike anything alive today. Swamps spread for thousands of miles. The coal we dig up and burn today is the buried remains of those exact forests. After 4 billion years of fire, ice, and poison, Earth was finally green and warm and alive. And then it tried to die again. This is where the world gets genuinely alien. Picture Earth around 260 million years ago, long before a single dinosaur exists. The days are shorter here, only about 22 hours long, because the planet is spinning faster than it does today. And the thing in charge isn't a dinosaur. Dinosaurs don't exist yet. Something older, and arguably worse. They were called gorgonopsids, and they were among the very first animals on Earth to grow saber teeth. The biggest of them was a monster called Inostrancevia, which is basically the scientific name for a bear-sized killing machine, with curved fangs as long as your hand, built to slice straight through flesh. For a long stretch of this world, if you were a plant eater, it didn't matter how big you grew. One of these things was waiting for you. Strangely, the safest place to be was underwater. The seas back then were calm and mostly free of enormous predators. While up on the surface, something was always hunting. Earth had survived fire, ice, and poison, and now something even stranger was coming. This planet has tried to kill everything on it more times than we can count. Fire, poison, collision, predators with fangs the size of your forearm. And every single time, life found a way. Not because life is special, but because life is stubborn. The same microbes that made oxygen by accident are still here today, inside your gut. The same carbon in the coal we burn was once a living tree-breathing carboniferous air. Every atom in your body has a history older than the sun. You are not separate from this history. You are the latest version of it. The whole story is written in the rocks, in the ice, and in your DNA. For 0.5 billion years. One planet, countless near extinctions. And we are sitting here right now talking about all of it. That alone should feel impossible. And yet here we are. The gorgonopsids are gone. The Cambrian creatures are gone. The ancient forests are gone. But their story didn't end. It became ours. We are made of this planet. We are built from every catastrophe it survived. The next time you breathe in, remember, that oxygen was once a poison. The next time you feel sunlight on your skin, remember, that star almost didn't form. The next time you walk on solid ground, remember, it used to be lava. Everything permanent you've ever touched was once something else entirely. Earth didn't make this world for us. We just happened to show up while it was still running. And whatever comes next on this planet, it won't be asking our permission either.